Hello, my friends. Welcome to Together Run 14. I'm loving how much you are enjoying these. I'm not going to say too much right now, other than before we begin, if you haven't already subscribed to the Running For Real podcast, if you could do that, that is a massive help for me. I know it doesn't seem like much. I know your one phone doesn't seem like much, but if you subscribe on Spotify, on iTunes, wherever you listen, that really helps me. So thank you. All right, let's get to it. Good morning from me and the birds. Very loud today. Before we begin, I want you to go find a tree or something, some grass, something from nature, something alive, a plant, a flower, and just touch it. I'm touching the bark of my tree right now. But I want to start with that today. Rather than the end, let's do that. We're grounded from the beginning. And yeah, let's just start that way. Thinking about the fact that we get to be out here, outside, breathing in, breathing out fresh air. If you're not, then after this run, I hope you can go outside and touch it, even if it's raining. Touching the rain is okay too. All right, so we'll start and I'll talk a bit more. Okay, in 3, 2, and 1. Off we go. Yeah, I just wanted to start with that today, as I'm sure many of us do. I definitely do. We start off our runs and we just kind of launch into them and then don't really give any thought to the fact that we're outside, the fact that we as human beings spend most of our time inside, and that we really should be making more of being, just recognizing that we're outside and in the air, in the world, and not in an air-conditioned home or in a place full of electronics. And I obviously get the fact that I'm saying that, and I look all around me and there's like wires everywhere. So not totally escaping it. But there's still nature all around. And as we've seen with places like Chernobyl, even if we destroy things, nature finds its way through back to grow. Or, you just see a road and you see little sprouts of grass and weeds and things are growing. So nature always finds a way through. Maybe not in the way that might be helpful to us, but it'll find its way through. Okay, so we'll begin our body scan in just a minute, and then we'll go through our senses, and we will then go into a story. Well, not a story, we'll just have a bit of a conversation, and I think this is one today that you can be engaged with and think about your answers within your life, and yeah, I think it'll be fun. So if you haven't done one of these before, the body scan is going to be, we'll do it together, so don't start till I say. We're going to go work our way down from the top of our head to our toes, feeling through our body, paying attention to how things feel, and just reminding us to hone in, to ground in, and to pay attention to our body, because it's another thing we do is just often get on with our runs, plug into stuff, podcasts, music. We don't actually check in with our body and our mind. Okay, so what we're going to do, so see if you can feel the top of your head. Maybe you feel your hair moving slightly. Maybe you just feel where you think the top of your head is. And I mean the crown. Is it the crown? I don't know. The bit that's facing the sky. And then we're gonna work your way down. So feeling through the ears, through the eyes. If you're squinting your eyes, just loosen them up. Going into your nose, your mouth, your jaw. Pay attention if your jaw is clenched or if there's any tightness in your face, we tend to hold a lot of tightness in our faces, and just loosen it up, going through the back of the neck, around the front, collarbone, shoulders, down in through your arms. Are you gripping your hands really tight? Just shake them out. Shake them out. We can do that a few times in the run. And working your way through your chest, through your stomach, into your hips, pelvis, through the glutes, and then into your legs, your hamstrings and quad, into your knees, into your calf and shin, standing down into your heel, your arch, and then finally into your toes. How's everything feeling there? Relaxed, tight, good. So you've looked at the individual parts there, and how about as a whole? When you think about your body, does it feel like it needs a little more time to warm up? In which case that's okay. That's what we're going to give it, and we're going to check in later on to see how it's doing. Or is it feeling pretty good? Feeling pretty warmed up. Most people here do these as easy runs, but if you were doing it as a harder run, you really want to pay attention to how your body's feeling. Hopefully if you're doing this, you don't have expectations on the run, but it's always important to ask. And then what about mentally? How are you? I know this can be uncomfortable. We don't like being alone with our thoughts, but this is a minute, and we can do a minute of time by ourselves thinking about how we are. So let's just do that right now. How are you? What comes for you? Are there a mixture of emotions? I've mentioned quite a lot that I heard Glennon Doyle being asked a few months ago how she was by, I think it was Michael Gervais, and she said everything. And I just love that, because that feels like a lot of what this past year has been. You know, we've all been through 18 months, even a tough 18 months, no matter what way you look at it. And it's all been, you know, we've all had good moments. There's been good things that have come out of this, and there will be probably more good things that will come out of this or be related to this. But then for all of us, there's been bad things and hard things. Maybe today we should talk about that a little bit, actually. Yeah, why don't we do that rather than what I was going to talk about? Just to kind of work through some things together about what this last year has brought. And I can get to the other things later on. As you have made clear, the 60-minute runs are a hit. So, yeah. All right. And now, if you haven't done one of these runs before, we are going to do our sense check-in. So for this, we are going to work through our 5 senses, finishing with sight, because we overstimulate our sense of sight we overuse our eyes, and there's so much more that we can appreciate if we use the other senses. So let's start as we always do, with a nice deep breath in. What do you smell? Take another one if you need to. What do you taste? Anything jump to mind for you? For me, just toothpaste. Nothing exciting. Well, I suppose I shouldn't say exciting or not. It's the flavour of mint. I am not a spearmint person, by the way. Interesting little fact about me. When people offer me spearmint gum or spearmint anything, I don't know, there's something about it I just can't stand. So mine's definitely not spearmint flavour. And let's go to our next, hearing. So if you're listening on some headphones that block out sound, I want you to just take those out for 30 seconds and listen. See what you hear. You're probably somewhat hearing my sounds in this run. And even if you have the noise blocking ones, you can decide if you want to pull them away. Oh, sorry. If you have the open ear ones, you can decide if you want to pull them away. But let's just see what you hear. For me, definitely heard some other runner footsteps. I turned and he turned. So we were running in that awkward thing where you're like next to each other on the other side of the road from one another. You're next to each other but not really running together, but no one's going faster than the other one. Do you know, I honestly thought about, should I say hi to him and introduce everyone to him? Never seen the guy, never met the guy. But it'd be funny to do, wouldn't it? Maybe I'll do that next time. Anyway, what did you hear? For me, I heard birds. I heard his footsteps. I heard my breathing. Hear the quiet, far away rumble of the highway. And those are the main ones. What did you hear? Anything different that you don't normally hear or don't normally pay attention to? I especially notice with like bird song that I tend to, you know, you hear them and you're used to them, so you don't pay attention to that there's actually tons of different bird songs and noises they make. And so, you know, yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. And Knox, you know, likes to talk about things like that, like the specifics. So I've been thinking about it a lot more. And then next, what do you feel? So pay attention to the sensations inside your body, outside your body. What do you feel? And I'm talking about specifics. If you haven't done this before, so I can feel the sweat on my hand. I can feel the phone slightly digging into my other hand. I can feel the wind blowing my upper arm. What do you feel? Let's just take a little bit of time right now to see what stands out. Okay. Anything that you don't think you would have noticed had we not talked about this? What do you think? This is just the importance of this, because we tend to, rely on our sight, but also this is part of the experience, right? The feelings, especially the feelings. Like feeling your knees maybe slightly brush past one another, or feeling your foot slightly moving in your shoe, or maybe the hardness of what you're running on. This is part of what makes running special for us, right? Okay, and finally, our sight. So, as we always do, if it's safe for you, I want you to turn your head to the left, look down, try and pick something you don't normally see. Pay attention to it. Look up, and then look at a diagonal, look all around, try and take in as much as you can, just scanning, seeing, paying attention, and then looking forward. What do you see there? Last week someone found a hawk when they were looking. They said they wouldn't have seen otherwise. And then looking to the diagonal of the right, up, down, what do you see? And then to the far right, down and up. What is something you see? Something you haven't noticed before. I love looking for something that's different, or, you wouldn't otherwise pay attention to. For me, I saw a few trees that were younger trees. That brings me a little bit of happiness that people still plant trees rather than just cutting them down. So, yeah. Okay. And I think that's good for our check-in today. And so, let's talk a little bit. Actually, first, I'm just going to talk about UCAN a little bit today first. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you would have heard me talking about UCAN before, how I used it in Boston, I carried it myself, how I used it as an elite athlete and would put it in my bottles that were handed to me, yes, but that's why I mentioned that I also used it in Boston when I had to carry it myself. I have also, for many years, used it every day as part of my just daily routine with their bars and their protein drinks that I love and put in smoothies or just have with milk, and it's like a post-run treat, especially the cookies and cream flavour of protein is my favourite, and doesn't upset my stomach. That's a huge thing. I feel if you are someone who has stomach issues, using it as your during race fuel is really going to help you to eliminate that. So it's a great product, and they now have a gel. Now, I've mentioned that I am not an orange person. Don't like the flavour of orange for things, and for me, it's hard to say actually. So the product itself is wonderful. I have heard so many people loving it and appreciating it, and it's just what they wanted. You finally can get UCAN in a form that's ready to go. You don't have to mix it yourself or carry it in bottles. And so it does come with a TINA approval. However, there is that element for me that I'm just not an orange person. And so I'm looking forward, let's just say, to when they bring other flavours out. And I am confident when they do, I'll be first in line to guzzle that down and use it. But if you are an orange person, I've heard so many good reviews about it. So you can go to youcan.co/Tina Muir, TINAMUIR, to get yourself 20% off UCAN products. And I'll mention it again later because I don't want you to go do that right now. Let's just stay in the run, right? Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about working through the last 18 months. Because it has been tough on us all. And one of the calming things about it when I think about this, and it's not over, I think we're far from over, but we do have it shared. And especially within our superstars community, I think about the fact that, you know, there'll be a certain race going on or a certain event or a certain day that each country has and celebrates. But not everyone knows that. And even something like Global Running Day is not like understood on a deep level as it is for some countries. So this pandemic has brought us all on the same page. So we've all felt anxiety. We've all felt that fear of the uncertainty. We've all felt that fear of, like, what is this thing? Sorry. We've all felt that joy of being able to do something somewhat normal again, and it feeling 10 times better than it did before. We've all leaned on our runs, or picked up running, or, you know, maybe not. Maybe found running to be something that has been painful during this time. A painful reminder of what you're not able to do. But the fact you're here right now means that running has become a source of comfort for you in some capacity. And there's something special about that. And as I said, I don't feel like we're through this yet. There's more to come. And we're going to look back on this time someday, and we're going to be able to really be like, wow, that was a lot. Not just because of obviously the pandemic, but the Black Lives Matter movement uprising, the conversations that are happening, and the growth and change the whole world is going through right now. We are having some growing pains, and we will get through it. But yeah, it's a lot. For me, I really have this trip to England booked for the end of the month for the four of us, my family, and it's not looking good. There's a lot of complications in that I'm the only British citizen. Steve's got to be back by a certain day for his work. We can only get so many days off for him. There's a quarantine right now. And even though I could probably go on my own, or probably take one or both of the girls, I have to think about the long-term mental health and growth of my family, and I'm not sure going away for a few weeks is the best choice. And for myself, the idea of carrying a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old on 2 flights, one of which is 8 hours, is not only daunting but very, very, very intimidating, and also then taking the girls away from their dad for a few weeks. And that's a pretty hard choice to make. And I'm trying to work through it. There's a lot more people, athletes going to countries in Europe, to the UK right now. And so I know people have gone from America to the UK. And yet I can't even introduce my mum and dad to my daughter. Or I can't see my nephew for the first time, or see my niece again because of this. And that weighs on me a lot. Feels unfair. But then I realised, having Steve home for the pandemic, the early part, when I had Chloe, was a huge blessing. I mean, he would not be home much throughout the first year of her life, but he was home every day. And so, you know, there's good things that I've experienced. There's obviously been negatives. I am very grateful and appreciative and thoughtful of the fact that those closest to me are healthy, and I have been, you know, saving space, holding space for those who have lost people, and I'm sorry, genuinely so sorry if that is you. So hard and just, you know, devastating. But are we interested, in terms of our running, to see what comes out of this? I mean, races are coming back, and I've signed up for a few big ones. And actually, I shouldn't say I've signed up. I know I'm doing a few big ones. Need to sign up. And we will see whether we can appreciate the ability to race rather than layering on the pressure to race well and perform. I'm hoping we've learned. When you hear the Malcolm interview at the end of the week, as you listen to this, you will hear him talk about how incredibly nervous he gets before races. And he said that almost nothing gets him nervous like that. And that's someone who performs in front of tens of thousands of people, or someone who has done all kinds of crazy experiences and things in his life. But we all get nervous. But I hope this year has taught us that it's just running. You know, we have been through all of this, and I hope we can carry that forward, that there's no real pressure on running, unless you are a professional athlete, and I'd be surprised if anyone listening to this is. They're probably all doing their own thing. But yeah, so we need to, take from it that we can just be grateful to be at a race. I mean, we spent so long being totally unsure when we would get to race again, be around other runners again. And the reason this Together run has been such a hit is because we're still not able to run with one another like either we were before, or maybe you're just at a point in your life where that just doesn't happen anyway. As a mother of 2 young kids, I run when I can. Sometimes I might get to run with someone. Most of the time, I do not. And then I think about, with our running, have we found like an enjoyment for smaller races? You know, will we be like, you know, it doesn't have to be these big giant events. It could be, I like doing my local stuff. I like staying close. Or then will destination races be the goal? Because people will think, oh wow, you know, I've been at home for so long. I need to go somewhere. I need to, you know, appreciate each and every day I can get out. So I'm interested to see, what do you think about that? Oh, 30 seconds to go for the 30-minute group. We'll talk a bit more about the original topic I was going to talk about after we say goodbye. But at 30-minute mark for the 30-minute group, you can take a walk, and all of us will do a few strides in a few minutes' time, and then we'll continue on. If you're in the 45 and 60-minute group, you've got plenty of time left to listen. But yep, 30-minute group, coming to a walk. And just get your breath back a minute, and we'll do 2 strides. Now, on the note of strides, Ellie reached out to me and asked about, you know, this is the first time she's heard about strides or known about strides. So what does that mean? I explain it when we're doing it. But how often should someone do strides? How far? How many times if you were just going to do it at the end of a run? So after we've done our first one, I'll explain a little more, and then we'll go from there. Okay. You ready? In 3, 2, and 1. Just going to pick up your cadence, about 80% of your max. Not trying to stride out, trying to increase your cadence. And slow to a walk or a jog. I realized the other day that I was making, I say to you, is about 10 seconds. It's more like 15. Not that we can't handle another 5 seconds at 80%, but I'm going to be saying 15 seconds from now on. Just get our breath back and go again. And then I'll explain strides, a little more about it, as you 30-minute group walk, cool down, and the rest of us can just listen. All right, are we ready to begin our second one? In 3, 2, and 1. Okay, good job. Let's slow to a stop and picture time. We just want you to take a picture of yourself out on this together run. And by the way, keep meaning to say, many of you are using the hashtag Together Run 12, Together Run 8, whatever run you're using. Keep doing that. That's going to be really cool to look back as we have people join these, and you can see where people are at the various runs. So if you have the energy, go back and do, add hashtag Together Run whatever to your previous posts. Or if you just want to do it from now on, that's fine too. But it's really cool to see. So this is Together Run 14. Make sure you add that in there and take a picture. It doesn't have to be glamorous. As I mentioned last week, I am mostly running around my neighbourhoods because it's quiet. So I see a bush, including one tree branch bush thing that's fallen down. See part of a golf course behind some trees. See a stop sign. I see a hill in all directions. So that's going to be fun. I can hear someone. So take a picture. If you're in the 30-minute group, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to explain strides as we get going again. So you ready? Let's begin again in 3, 2, and 1. I want to see more of these pictures, by the way. I know how many of you are running, and so I'm not seeing as many pictures as I'm seeing running. So if you are someone who has your Garmin set up or whatever, take your phone one time. I really do love to see your faces on these runs. Even if you just send it to me directly in an email or in a message, or if you share it, that really helps me. And by the way, if UCAN isn't available to you or possible for you, the biggest thing you can do is leave a rating and review on iTunes or Spotify, or share this podcast. That's a massive help to me too. All right, so strides. This is what we do. We do on these runs, we do 2 at the 30-minute, 2 at the 45, 2 at the 60-minute mark. And I wouldn't say that's typically how strides are done. Typically, you will do strides at the end of a run, and you will just do, I'd say, 4 to 6 strides of about 100 meters, maybe 60, 80, up to you and your fitness level. And as I've been saying, you'll run them at about 80% of your max, and you will stride out. This is post-run, so you'll come to a walk, give yourself a minute or two, and then find yourself as flat of an area as you can. However, if you don't have flat ground and you're not experienced in strides, I would recommend doing it up a hill over down a hill, just because of the impact on your body that downhills have when you're running fast. It's kind of a skilled action to learn. And yeah, so I would recommend, if you were going to do strides, add strides to your week. You would do it maybe 1 to 3 times, depending on how many days you run. And you shouldn't be all out. You should actually feel pretty good about a minute or two after you finish the last one. Like it's woken your body up. And it is actually a bit of a secret hack to getting fitness, because it's just that little pop of speed in your legs that you wouldn't otherwise have. And while it's not going to guarantee a 5k PR, it will make a difference, especially if you are going for one of these shorter races and you do have speed work in there. I've also enjoyed doing strides before workouts. When I'm in serious workout phases, I would do 2 to 4 strides before a workout begins, and that's not, it's not going to tire you out. It's actually going to help you. It's going to help your body be in a warmed up speed-wise state, so you can go straight into your workout, not feeling that rusty and out of control feeling we get when we start a workout that feels like we're sprinting. So it could really help you there. Although if you haven't done strides before, I recommend starting with just 2. So that's one option you can do. There's 2 options. You can do the 1 to 3 times at the end of easy runs. You can do the 2 to 4 at the end of, or before you start your workout. And some people like to do them post-workout. Never really got that myself, but more because it sounds miserable. But some people like to make their hard days hard, and this is not supposed to add any hard to your day. As I've said with these, in every scenario, strides are meant to be just more of like a shakeout, a little pop. So if you've been doing a longer workout or longer repeats or efforts, adding again, I'd say 2 to 4. If you really are in pretty decent training and you want to do 6, it's probably okay. But it's just at the end, not going to feel good, but just again, giving you that little pop of speed. So yeah, I'd give yourself, and when you're doing these, just wait 30 seconds to a minute, not to recover fully, but say 75% of the way there, and then you can go again. We do it during runs, but that's just because I want us to do it together, and I want to make sure that everyone feels included. The next stage of running for real is really about finding ways to make everyone feel welcome, to make everyone feel included, and I hope this is part of that for you, because it doesn't matter about pace, it doesn't matter about speed. I give 3 options. You don't have to select one, you just drop in or out whenever you feel right. And I hope that's the case. And at Running for Real, we're building a strong team. Oh, I'm so excited to tell you more about this team of people we're building and the projects we're working on. It feels so good. I feel so positive for the future. So I love that you're with me for this, and with us, and growing with us, and learning with us. And I know most of you read my email newsletter, so you're getting to hear the inside information. If you don't have that already, you can if you go to runningforreal.com, you'll see big boxes everywhere where you can enter your email and go sign up, because those are pretty much the same thing as here, maybe a tiny bit more concise. And yeah, they're pretty popular. Where are we at for time? 40 minutes. Just saw one of my neighbours, not one I know very well, but she definitely saw me talking into my microphone. So interesting to think what people think I'm doing. Right, so we got about 5 minutes left before we start our next set of strides, and the 45-minute group can peel off. Let's talk about the original thing I was going to talk about, which was, I don't know, that's quite a long one. Do you know what? I don't know. Hard time deciding here. Someone who just popped in on one of these runs, like mid-run, heard me at this point, would be like, what are you listening to? That woman just doesn't know what she's doing. She's just talking to herself and mumbling and going off on tangents. But it does feel real, right? It feels like I'm running next to you, because that's what we do within our own running journeys. We just trail off, or at least I do. It's funny with my 3-year-old Bailey, someone will ask her a question, or she'll ask someone a question, and then halfway through her answer, you just see, or halfway through her listening to the answer, or whatever it is, you just see her drift off. You see her attention span just disappear. It's so funny because the person, or me, knows that she's 3 years old and they understand that's what happens. But it's really just funny to think about how long they can hold attention. Probably actually not much different to ours nowadays. But still, to watch someone's attention trail off just after about 5 seconds. It is quite comical. I think let's do a body check-in for this last few minutes. Let's do another scan down, see how you're feeling. Yeah, let's do that. You can start from your head, work your way down. I'm not gonna tell you this time. I'm gonna let you go at your own pace. Just pay attention to how your body is feeling. Anything different to before? Are there any areas that felt stiff at the beginning but now feel pretty good? Or maybe the other way? Any parts that were feeling okay at the start and have that nagging feeling that you need to go get something taken care of? If that's the case, and I just spoke to you, go do it. Right after this run. It's not what you want to do, I know. And we always pretend that maybe things will get better and maybe they'll be okay if we just give it a little more time, or maybe it's because we added a few extra hills, or whatever excuses we use. Don't hold back. Don't let yourself get to that state where you have to take time off. Go get it checked out now by a medical professional if you can, or figure out a way that you can speak to someone about it who might know. And I know we don't want to pay for medical professionals. They're slow to a walk if you're 45 minutes. I know we don't want to pay for it. It's expensive. And a lot of the times people can't afford it. And again, that's something I'm trying to figure out with what we're doing at Running for Real. But for now, if you can afford it in any way, it's always going to be the best choice. And it's going to be the only way that you're going to get the answer that you need. So then, right, we're going to do 2 strides in a minute. Just give those 45-minute people another little bit more recovery time. I'm going to do 2 more strides at about 80%, and then we'll finish up into our last part of the run. All right, I'm going to turn around. Okay, are we ready to begin? In 3, 2, and 1. And slow to a jog. Or a walk if you're doing 45 minutes. You can go as slow as you like on these bits. Don't feel like you have to run your regular pace between these strides. It's okay to run easier. Okay, we'll do it again. In 3, 2, and 1. and slow to a walk or a jog. Get your breakfast back. If you're with us for 60 minutes, you can jog slow as long as you need, and then you can get back to your regular cadence. Don't want to say speed or pace. Hope you're not paying attention to speed or pace while you're with me, because you just don't need to be. I feel like I'm on an endless quest to stop people paying attention to their pace, because I feel just so freeing not to be thinking about your pace. And I know a lot of you do now run either not looking, or at least not on easy days. And I know there's some of you that are as committed to me as committed as me to #NoWatchMe. And almost every day I get someone show me they've just joined that movement, if you want to call it that, and are thinking about, not looking at their watch, not paying attention to their watch. I love it. I hope I can slowly move people more towards that and away from paces. All right, so for this last bit, we are going to do our strides as we have been doing a little bit before the 1 hour mark, so we can finish right at the 1 hour mark and be done with our strides. But for now, we've got about 10 minutes. So I guess, as most of you are doing 60 minutes now, from what the poll said that David put up in Running for Real Superstars, most of you are doing 60 minutes. I would love to know things you would like to talk about. If you're the hardcore group of people who is running 60 minutes most days or on these days, and you're enjoying these, like, what can I talk about? I've got a few more questions of things that I've got to get through, but I would love for this to become a way for us to connect and have some talking points that we can not just have me talk about or weigh in on, but also we can do it as a community, right? We can take whatever the topic is of the day, and someone can post it in the Superstars community, and we can discuss like our thoughts. So I'd love to, maybe, I don't know if this would sit well, but if someone felt comfortable with today and talked about the pandemic and just the global experience that we've been through, and how, while things are divided, in many ways it has brought people together, and an appreciation for humanity. So some kind of conversation about that, maybe unexpected positives, but maybe that is insensitive, and if so, you can tell me that. It's tricky, isn't it? Because I don't want to, as I said, I realise how fortunate I've been with, so far I should say, I really want to touch a tree. I'm going to have to grab a tree. Oh, there's no trees. I really want to be, I've been fortunate not to have lost anyone close to me. All right, touch wood. But even if I had, and I read Matthew McConaughey's book recently, and he talked about his losing his dad being a silver lining, a green light as he calls it. And there are a lot of examples of that with this pandemic. Do we wish it had happened? Hell no. But has it given us some things? I think if most of us looked hard enough, we could find some small things. But talking about that can be a bit tricky, because it can feel like if you are someone who's deep in the grief of losing someone or losing a job or losing something, it can feel like a kick in the face. So I feel like someone is going to be able to more gracefully than me bring that up and have a conversation about it. Because while running for real, especially running realized, is having these hard conversations, we also need to be having them within our own lives. And we have a community, so why not use it? And if you aren't sure what the hell running for real superstars is, we have a Facebook community in our group. Awesome place. So much positivity and love and support, but also honesty about sometimes how tough things are, and having a difficult discussion about, how people are feeling, how we're struggling, what we're working through. And so I really encourage you to go check that out. If you look for Running for Real Superstars on Facebook, you'll find it. You'll find it in my Instagram bio. You'll find it on my website, runningforreal.com. You'll find it everywhere. So yeah, come join us if you haven't already. Got about 5 minutes left. What do you want to do with this 5 minutes? I feel like maybe we should do another sensory check-in. Yeah. Just because this is 60 minutes and we deserve to check in with our surroundings more than once. So let's take a big deep breath in. What do you smell? Do another one if you need to. What do you taste? What do you hear? Let's take a little bit of time. Take your headphones out. Just listen to what's around you. You've been listening to me and my surroundings. Let's tune into yours. Okay? Anything different to before? Anything that's unique to where you are? I love hearing the different sounds because it does sound different. I mean, if you're in St. Louis, probably not. And maybe even some other Midwestern states, your sounds are similar to mine. But we all have something a bit different, right? And so what is different to what you hear in mine? It may even be the time of day you're running. Maybe you hear different sounds to what I do because you're running in the evening or you're running in the middle of the day. Now, what do you feel? Let's just take a little time to think about that. For me, feel a wind blowing the sweat on my forehead. Feel my fingers gently touching my palm. Feel my quads a little bit achy. I feel my hair bouncing around on my back. What about you? Is there anything that's different to the beginning of the run? Anything you don't normally pay attention to? All right, and we are going to save our sight for afterwards. So you ready to begin? 5th stride in 3, 2, and 1. And so to a walk or a jog. So to a jog. If you're 60 minutes, you can handle this. And we're not going to have a very long break here, because if you're fit enough to run 60 minutes, you're fit enough to go from one to the next. Okay, ready to begin in 3, 2, and 1. And slow to a jog. Got a final minute, and then we're done. So sight, I'm just gonna skip that part because, as I said, we rely too much on it. It's good to just check in with the other 4 and leave it at that. But as we round out our run today, think about how you felt, how the experience was running with someone, and maybe what you can do moving forward to add more of this into your life. Even if you can't do as much as you'd like. Okay, let's go to a walk. Or even if you can't do it to the same way you were before. It's okay to find a new way to connect with other people. And if this is it for now, great. I love having you. All right, friends. Be sure to upload your photo. Be sure to go get yourself some UCAN. Use code TINAUCAN. There's links in the show notes. Leave a rating review on iTunes, Spotify. Even if you've already done it before, you will replace your previous one, and that still helps. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on Friday for an episode with Malcolm Gladwell. Before we end this episode, I just want to take a moment to shout out my podcast editor, Jeremy Nessel, who has done such a wonderful job of looking after my podcast, taking out all the mishaps in the episodes, while still keeping in the vulnerability and the realness and the rawness of the conversation. This is not one of those podcasts where I take out the ums and the ers and the sometimes the delay in words, because I think it's very important to keep that authenticity. We're surrounded by perfected and manicured everything, and I think it's really important that Running for Real stays that way. So thank you to Jeremy for your work. I also want to thank Maria Vargas and Amber Moore, who are also part of my team. They've been a big part of this community and me being able to build this brand. So just want to give them a shout out too. All right, let's get right back to the end of this episode. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. I love seeing your screenshots. Go share it right now. Go share this with your friends. Tell them how much fun you're having. And please subscribe on your favorite podcast player, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you go. Make sure you are subscribed, especially with the changes that iTunes have made. It is really important to me and helpful to me if you do that. Be sure to go check out Beam at beamtlc, beamtlc.com. Use code TINA to get yourself 15% off. I'm loving hearing how many of you are trying that. And thank you for supporting me. I'll see you on Friday for an episode with Malcolm Gladwell.